Hi, everyone. I had some questions about some of the formatting of the course and the way that it is kind of set up and where some of the things are. So I thought I would do a little questions and answers about our humanities class so that everybody can have that information in case everybody was worrying about it or wondering about where it is altogether. So I've got a little list of questions that I've been asked over the last week that I thought I would just take a few minutes, create this little video and share it all with everyone. Okay. Okay, so here's some questions that I have been asked about this class. One of the primary questions that I get asked about this class is about late work. So remember, you can always work ahead. That was another question. Can I work ahead? Work ahead as much as you want. Everything is open right now. Then people will on Sunday email and say to me, Mrs. Macbeth, I'm working on it. I'll turn it in tomorrow, but it's not open tomorrow. So once you go to turn it in, everything will be closed. It will not be open anymore. There will be no place to submit. So you can say that you want to submit it tomorrow, but when you go to submit it, there will be nothing there for you to submit. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so if we go into Panther Central and then we go into, here's our module, right? Let's look at last week's module. Oh, no, we're in module 1, right? Was last week's module. As you can see, I click on these things, nothing happens because they're closed, because all of that work was due already. And so it's done, it's closed, it's gone. Right? So you can say, I'm going to turn it in late, but when you go to turn it in late, it will not be open for you to submit. So, remember that once something closes, it closes, and there's no way to go back and submit that information. It's just gone. Okay. So no late work, but work ahead as much as you want. Okay. One of the other questions that I got a lot this week, so we're in module 2 this week, so I'll just open it up into this week, is about where some of the links to things are. So everybody kept asking me, what are the smart notes thing that I'm supposed to do? Everything that you need, all the documents are in this second link here. So you see, I clicked on the second link. I was telling everyone, click on the link under the introduction link. So here's the introduction link. Here's that second link right here. So I'm going to highlight it with a little drawing. So as you can see, here's the introduction link right here. I always said go underneath the introduction link. It is the second link. Well, that's this one. Okay. So the second link. So you're going to click on this second link right there. Okay. And then when you go into that second link, you got to scroll through a little bit, right? So I open it and I'm like, oh, it's not there. Well, it's obviously I need to look around a little bit. Remember, week 1, you were given almost nothing to do. Your entire job was just to get to know the class. So you should have opened all of these links. You should have clicked on everything. You should have scrolled down and looked through it. That was what your homework was meant to be, right? So, you should have already opened a bunch of these links, just to see what they're like and just to see what's going on with them. So as you see, right, here's the assignment, right? Here's the link. It says Smart Notes for Chapter 2. And you just click on that and it will automatically open for you, right? That is the document that you are meant to turn in. Then underneath that, right, you have these things. Here are the prompts right here that you're meant to do for your discussion board, right? So these are the prompts right here. So somebody was asking me, where are the prompts? They're on that second link, and then you just scroll all the way down. Okay. All right. Finally, right, some people were asking some questions about, library information and what some of the function of all this stuff is. Okay. So the Smart Notes, that is your assignment that proves to me that you read the textbook. So that is what that assignment is for. Okay. The discussion board is meant to take an assignment. Okay, so take one thing, like just one thing that you read about and expand on it a little bit, right? The project, you use the same thing that you use for your discussion board for your project, but when you do that, you elaborate even further, right? You go deeper into the issue, because in the discussion board, you only write 400 words, 400 to 500 words. In the elaboration project, you write over 600 words. So it should go much deeper, much more in detail, and look a lot more like an essay. Now, the essays themselves are, and then the reading quiz, right? That's also to just prove to me that you've read the textbook. Now, if you were in a face-to-face class, you would be having lectures. So a lot of this isn't necessary. But since you're not having lectures, we need things like smart notes and reading to make sure that you are actually engaging with the material. That's our way of checking to make sure that you've engaged with the material. Now, one of the other things that people have been asking is about the essays. The essays are just, like normal essays, so that's something else. But then sometimes people have been asking a little bit about your elaboration project. So let's talk a little bit about that final course portfolio that you have here. So again, I'm going to click on the second link, which will have all the information I need on it. This portfolio is meant to be like a compilation of everything that you have done in this class. So you will include a elaboration project from 4 different topics that you have covered, but it has to be different ones, right? One has to be about religion. Another one has to be about like something that's architectural, or I don't know, something, but it has to be 4 different topics, right? So that's to say they can't all be about religion. They can't all be about architecture. They can't all be about sculpture. They have to be different, okay? And you're meant to pick your best ones. And then you're meant to kind of use this as an opportunity to make sure that you've covered all of the topics. So you can, look at it and say, okay, here's my elaboration project. Did I describe adequately? Did I analyze? Did I evaluate? Did I do all of these elements? And if I did, then I'm done, right? Then I did it. But if I didn't, if I described it, but I didn't analyze, if I analyzed it, but I didn't describe it, if I analyzed, but I didn't evaluate, then that means, right, that I didn't do all of the topics. So in the portfolio, that's my opportunity to add those pieces on, right? So now's that moment, right? I'm going to go back, I'm going to look at it again, and I'm going to say, you know what? I spent so much time describing the life of Muhammad. I didn't get really a good chance to analyze the development of Islam. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add that as a piece now when I do my final portfolio. And at the end, you're also meant to do a reflection, right? So that is, what it is that you are meant to do. And you also include, I think it also includes one essay. Okay, so that's what you're meant to do. So it's like a compilation of these different pieces of work that you've done in the process of the class. But you're just like going back and double checking it to make sure that you actually covered all of the things that we wanted you to know about each of those individual topics. I hope that kind of makes sense. Okay, finally, right? Somebody was asking about turnitin.com. You do not have to submit anything to turnitin.com. When you go into the Dropbox, those Dropboxes are already linked to turnitin.com. Okay. And you know that because it's got a little eyeglass on it. You see this little eyeglass right here? I'm going to show you. See these little eyeglasses? That means it is connected to turnitin.com. So we do not have a separate turnitin.com account for this class. You don't need that at all. You do not submit anything to turnitin.com, and I would not recommend it, because if you do submit things to turnitin.com, then what's going to happen is it's going to come up as plagiarized because it's going to have already been submitted. So you don't need to submit anything to turnitin.com. It's already tied into it. So that work is already done for you. Okay, so let's finally talk a little bit about sources. This has kind of been another thing that people were a little confused about. Okay, here's an encyclopedia, and let's talk about why an encyclopedia is not a valuable source. The first is because it's a reference source. So reference sources are not considered to be academic because they're not really specific enough. But the other thing is, okay, so let's look at this free online dictionary or encyclopedia, I mean. Here's the problem. So I looked up Dr. Seuss. Okay. First of all, here's our first problem. Who wrote it? We don't know. We don't know who wrote it. Do we know that they're a scholar in the biography of Dr. Seuss? Do we know that they know they're an expert in the field, that other experts validate their opinion? We don't know. Also, Nothing here indicates to me that this article has been peer reviewed. So when an article is peer reviewed, it means other experts in this field have read this article and determined it is legitimate, it is relevant, the information within it is accurate, and that it is a good article, right? It is a verified sound article. We don't have any of that, right? So we don't know. Has anybody verified this article? Has anybody made sure that the information within it is accurate, that the information within it is not biased, that it is not written with any type of other purpose? We don't know, right? So the other issue here, right, is that obviously it's not written for simply academic purposes. How do we know it's not written simply for academic purposes? Well, look at this ad and this ad and this ad. There are tons of ads. So it's not written simply for academics. It's written to sell you something, right? It may be subliminal selling, but it's written to sell you something. So here again, we don't know that any of this information is accurate. We scroll all the way down to the end, right? And there's no biography. So here at the end, we have no references. We don't know, okay? We don't know where they got the information from, if that information is considered accurate in this field of Dr. Seuss. We don't know any of that. So that is part of why these sources are not considered academic. Now, some people were asking how to access the library website, okay? Under your student tab, okay? If you go all the way down in the student tab, right here, you can click and it will say general catalog and searching. This is how you get into the library right there, okay? So you just click on that and it'll take you directly into the library. I'll click on it now. Okay, so here I'm going to go back to my Dr. Seuss thing. All right, I'm going to look him up. Okay, so here is an article about Dr. Seuss. Now, I want you to notice right away some of the differences in this article, okay, between the article that we just saw. Okay, first, we have a clear author, okay? We know also that this author is peer reviewed, okay? We can also see very clearly where this article was printed. It's a medical journal, right? So it just, you know, uses some Dr. Seuss there. So we have a clear journal, and we know that this journal has been published by other people and it has been peer reviewed. That is to say, it has been reviewed by other experts in that field, and it is genuine. Okay, so that's why we know that this is a good source. All right, so I hope that that kind of helps to clarify things a little bit. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. I am happy to answer them at any time. All right, I hope this Q&A has been helpful for you. I will see you in class, guys.